And fair or foul, Jacob Smedley, Sedric, Granger here, Minor League Weekly. Yeah, it's a conversation that I saw Jeff Passan was talking about front office sports, discussing that with them with the interview, and it was about the expansion of Major League Baseball. There was recent discussions with the NBA with their expansion that they're floating around and some realignment in their divisions. But Major League Baseball, there's a little more to consider, maybe a lot more, really, in fact, to consider when you're expanding. Jeff Passan, quote, said it was inevitable. As you see with our thumbnail, expansion is inevitable. Just got me thinking, fair or foul? Expansion is good for Major League Baseball and Minor League Baseball. If you want to separate it, Sedric, you can certainly do so, because, of course, there's positives, negatives for each. But fair or foul, is expansion good?
Hey everyone, we have an exciting announcement here at Minor League Minute, and it's an absolute home run. We are partnering with JustBats.com. Are you looking for your next bat to send balls flying over the fence this upcoming season? Then look no further. JustBats.com has you covered. There are so many options with top brands like Marucci, Easton, and Old Hickory to custom pieces that make you stand out on the diamond. It doesn't stop there. They have knob stickers, personal bat experts just for you, and if you don't like the bat, a 30-day return policy. My favorite features are custom engravings and wraps that make your favorite bat your dream bat. Check the link in the description below to learn more about Just Bats today.
Air for Major League Baseball, Al for Minor League Baseball. Here's why. So, what's great about expansion, you're going to make sure to engage better different markets. So right now there are some empty spaces, so to speak, or teams that rule really big regions. Main culprit of that, Atlanta Braves. They pretty much have like the entire Southeast on lock, which is pretty impressive to have that. But I also know some areas like Nashville or North Carolina, they have locations where there is a clear baseball market that is there. You look at the college teams in those areas, those are some of the most like impressive, thriving college teams that sell out their stadiums quite consistently as well too. So there is a market for those types of teams. So I think it'd be great for that. It'd also be good, I'd say, for some minor leaguers, especially looking at those quadruple A guys, those guys that are really good in triple A that just barely don't make the roster and are just kind of hovering in that kind of limbo zone. Now if there's a full other team where they need to have full 40-man rosters that need to be filled in for each of these teams, you're going to have more opportunities that are there for more guys to be in the major leagues. It might distribute the talent a little bit differently. Obviously, whoever spends the most is going to spend the most, but you're going to have some talent distribution that's there, more draft rounds, which could lead to maybe more guys getting picked up or more guys being added to different systems. And then just the excitement. We're kind of in a stage in Major League Baseball where a lot of things are new. And if we add two new teams, then you're going to have to reshuffle a lot of the divisions, because right now in Major League Baseball, you have through two sets of 15 with the AL and the NL. And then if it's two sets of 16, you probably got to switch the structure up. Whether you go 4-team divisions like the NFL or you go 8-team divisions, and you try something new, there's going to be people who aren't going to be happy with the way that the divisions are going to be realigned. But as long as you find a system that allows everyone to play each other while maintaining the rivalries consistently, and then also being smart with your divisional choices. And, there's some divisions where if you put all of them together, I don't think it's going to work out very well, or it's going to be very fun or liked by fans. So just thinking about those aspects, I think, are huge. But I think overall it would be a boon for MLB. Here's why I say it's bad for minor league baseball. So Major League Baseball, you have a lot of different levels. So you right now have the rookie ball levels. You got your single A, high A, double A, triple A. And what we're seeing now is a lot more development routes from college. And I have the theory that MLB at one point would love for college to become the main development level. It saves money for a lot of different teams throughout their systems. You don't have to worry about maintaining 5 different levels. Instead, you only can maintain maybe 4 or maybe 3 levels. And if there's expansion, that would almost be the perfect excuse to be like, okay, we're going to make these leagues independent or make these leagues a part of the draft league. So they might just, say single A, goodbye, or high A, goodbye. They'll reshuffle to whatever the most successful and best and thriving market. So the teams with new stadiums. So if you're let's say Richmond, they just got a brand new stadium. They're probably going to stick around, I'd say, in the top level. Wilson, they just got a new stadium. They're probably going to stick around as a newer team. Ontario Tower Buzzers, they probably stick around. But that would also mean some teams that maybe are in older ballparks that maybe don't get as much TLC or been around a long time might get kicked out. So like you think about the Houston farm system, they have a team that's kind of in the middle of nowhere, North Carolina, that might get taken there. Asheville Tourists, that's the team I was thinking of, where they're an older ballpark, a very traditional ballpark, but they didn't even get to have like a TV broadcast last year just because they didn't have as much of the funds, and it just is one of those ones that would be probably on the list to cut. And what we saw, the sadness that came from the Carolina Mudcats being gone, and the Mississippi team also being cut, Mississippi Braves not playing baseball anymore and losing their team to the Columbus area. We're going to see a lot of that, and I think it'll be very depressing. For a lot of markets and a lot of cities that grew up with their team, especially now. I live in a single A market right now, right next to the Delmarva Shorebirds. I'm about 5 minutes away from their ballpark, which is really nice during the summers. I could see them like losing their facility and becoming an independent league team instead. And you can still have really great independent league stuff, but I feel the affiliation with major league clubs makes it really exciting. Like just a couple years ago here, Jackson Holiday was in town and he was here. One of our coaches at the school I work for, Maryland Eastern Shore, he was a part of the Orioles, and I was talking about him on the broadcast. He was in Delmarva at the same time as Colton Cowser, Kobe Mayo, and Gunnar Henderson. Those
Wow.
were his teammates, which was incredible to see that. And that would not happen anymore if the affiliation was lost. So that'd be my biggest concern with the expansion on the minor league side of things. Obviously, major league would be more important. It would also put a bigger emphasis on college baseball. And you might see the draft structure change where a guy could be drafted and they basically have his rights. And then they're like, hey, you go to college, and this is where you're basically going to have your single A and high A levels. And then you come in and we'll put you right in double A. Like you're playing MLB The Show. When you make a player in MLB The Show, you go directly to double A, which isn't accurate for most players, but you will go directly to double A. It might be just like that, where the only two areas are triple A and double A, and it's only going to be the halves are going to be the top. So if you have a big market and you're a new stadium and it's big enough size, you'll probably stay. Like I think triple A for the most part is going to be okay.
Yeah.
Double A, the worst double A squads are going to be put down, and the best high A and single A ballparks are going to be pushed up. So, like thinking of like your high A's, like Fort Wayne, who has one of the most beautiful ballparks, Dayton, who sells out all the time of their ballpark. I'd imagine they get kicked up a little bit,
Hmm.
while some teams might be left on the wayside. So it's very interesting. There's a lot of good. I think for most fans, if minor league baseball is not your main thing, major league's kind of your big thing, it might make things more interesting, but it's going to change a lot of the tradition. So if you're a traditionalist, I could see you not liking it as well. But that's enough from me. I think I have a lot of thoughts on this. But Jacob, I want to hear what your thoughts are. I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, no, a lot of great thoughts, and yeah, I think that realignment. Talking about the Orioles system, I know the Aberdeen Ironbirds. We talk with Michael Marcantonini here on the show. Another promotion. Go check out that interview with him, talking about a lot of the Orioles players that are performing right now. The Ironbirds, their transition to the draft league, the Keys coming in, kind of taking their shape. Again, it will be a more larger and more kind of full scale situation here. But yeah, I think again looking at it, it's going to be it's going to be the movement of teams. It's going to be the changing of it. Yeah, I think I'm going to go. You mentioned the positives for both. I'm going to go maybe foul for both. I think the positives are there for Major League Baseball. I think that you look at what they can get revenue wise with moving. I think again there is some downsides though with the strenuous, that you put on the players. The product I think could also see, you're bringing in those guys that are those, quad A players to these teams, to these, organizations. Of course, you're bringing in a new market, but the teams, of course, the NHL, they had the swan song with the Golden Knights. The Kraken have been great. I don't know with the amount of players that are on these major league rosters that you can put that together. You might be in a similar situation where you're looking at those expansion franchises. It may take them 3, 4 years, then you're trying to have to recruit. That's the danger of the expansion. You're now having to try and recruit guys too. You have this, expansion roster. Then after a season, with these already established Cubs, of course, the Dodgers signing everyone, but you still have other teams that are signing players and desired destinations, in fact. So, and that's, I guess, a little downside to keep in mind with Major League Baseball with all of this. And I think you bring up such a huge point about the stadiums, the implementing. Just to take a look at some destinations that are being discussed at this moment. Looking at Nashville, that's been a place that they've been discussing for years now. Dave Dombrowski, the Phillies president of baseball operations, before he was hired, he was rumored to be leading the charge for this Nashville kind of expansion. Montreal, of course, bringing a team back to Montreal. That would just be exciting for the nostalgia people there as well. Of course, the Washington Nationals taking over that namesake. Salt Lake City, I think something else have to keep in mind of is with these teams, with these cities coming in, not only is the systems going to get shrunk and you've got that college baseball very similar almost like to hockey now where it's like, oh yeah, you can go play a season in college ball, but then after the season sign with the team and we'll, kind of put you in that. So it already kind of happens a little bit, but it will be, extensified really in that kind of system. But you're talking about these communities which minor league baseball really thrives with Nashville, with the Sounds, with some of these towns that it's a little ways away. In the South, you talk about the Braves that are a little ways away from the Braves. You have these minor league teams that are really entrenched in the community. And you talk about a place like Nashville with the Sounds. Where are they going to go? Where are the fans of the Sounds going to go? I mean, almost just like a major league team, but on a minor league scale. Now you're following a team from another area. You have all that tradition with a community that you built going to these games throughout the summer. So, I mean, expanding and monopolizing, I like it. Again, talk about the revenue, you talk about adding in more excitement, building on the excitement of the brand that Major League Baseball has built with the WBC, with the World Series, with the viewership. But minor league baseball, and I'm not calling it exactly the backbone, but you're looking at these communities where these fans that, Brewers fans in Nashville or in Salt Lake City, Angels fans in Salt Lake City that get to watch their team or a part of their team, that won't happen anymore. I think that's something to consider as well, adding to what you were talking about, Cedric.